Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's sales enablement session, selling services to accelerate customer adoption. I'm pleased to have with us David Sakamoto, VP of Customer Success, and also Brendan O'Leary, Senior Solutions Manager for Consulting Services. So without any further ado, Mr. Sakamoto, would you like to kick us off, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to connect with the team. And this work is really reflective of a lot of work that Brendan's been doing. I really want to also thank Dave, the sales enablement team, the sales ops team, and finance have been really helpful for helping us move a lot of our initiatives forward. But we're all here because we're all driven by the vision and passion that GitLab's application really provides an innovation DevOps platform to help customers efficiently deliver products while faster, while maintaining compliance. However, we know that results are often impacted by barriers outside the tool chain. So whether your prospects or customers are building or optimizing their DevOps practice, outcomes are often hindered by issues like adoption of new processes or methods or tools, or lack of skills or experience. And I think everybody's got the corporate deck. 87% of organizations are disappointed with their DevOps initiatives. So we're here because we're passionate and excited because we believe that GitLab services can really help customers achieve their positive business outcomes by delivering time to value and faster product adoption. And also this will drive results for GitLab, but specifically you. So this will help you achieve or hopefully exceed your quotas. So we can move on to the next slide. And so a couple questions. So why should you sell professional services? What services do we offer, right? And tell me about some of the things we've been doing around improving the ease of orderability and quality of delivery. And then we'll also talk about how to position services, and probably a key question a lot of you have, what's the process? So we've got a lot of improvements in that area. And the last but not least is we're gonna go through this 20 minutes. So we realize there's gonna be questions that you have after, and so wanna make sure that we leave you with where to go for questions. Next slide, please. So here's the what, why, and how. So the what, so we're focused on accelerating our customers' DevOps transformation by delivering services to do things very aligned to our product, right? Drive operational efficiency, accelerate time to market, reduce risk. And we're doing that through GitLab product adoption. So very important. We're focused on driving that adoption with a great experience. And so if you think about why from a customer view and from a GitLab or from your personal perspective, from a customer view, faster value realization, we want to do that with a better customer experience. And how we do that is bringing our best-in-class or experts that we have around the globe to help deliver those services. And from a GitLab perspective, improve retention and expansion. And for what that means for you, it's proven that driving that time to value and adoption will drive for a successful renewal. That's the lowest bar that we have. But also what will drive that time to value also means faster time to your first expand and better experience. So we'll get better word of mouth among the development community to expand in other teams and also give us the credibility to expand in other stages. So ultimately it will help you achieve your quotas or exceed them. It also really helps us get that customer insights and feedback. And for us, delivering these services direct gives us the experience to enable partners and also will help us provide offers that we can provide our partners as part of a future channel strategy. And how we deliver, there's a question in this area. Right now we are only direct. Over time, part of our strategy is to include partners, but there's some foundational work that needs to be done. And we also want to align with the VP of channels and the channel strategy that will be developed. So that's something to come. And I know that's of great interest to a lot of the team. Next slide, please. Okay, so a couple quick and easy things. What are the type of services we have and how do you order them? So right now we have 3 categories of services, and we're going to be working on and continue to expand those to move up level into more operational consulting services and some aspect of culture and those aspects that are also really critical. But we're starting with the product level services now. We have 3 areas. Time to value. So really that help bring our experts in to set up the system, provide the consulting on the right architecture that your prospect or customers need, and then really helping them migrate. So if they're on GitHub or if they're on Bitbucket. We can help migrate them off and really help get through that kind of initial setup and really get into that adoption process. And when you do that, you need to make sure that your team is enabled so they know how to use the product. They know how to maximize, leverage all the value that we bring as part of our great product to our customers. And ultimately, again, give that enablement will help them, really be able to leverage that value and also build a better experience for them. And then how to order. I know this has been, if you look back, I think our past state was everything was custom, everything's handcrafted, everything's a SLA. It's kind of confusing, can add some time. Brendan's been doing a lot of work, and also with the partners that I named earlier in the call, to really simplify this. So we're going to have kind of two methods to order moving forward. Off-the-shelf SKUs, just like the product, just like an add-on. You go add in your SKU. There's no SLA process, and we're going to have those for on-site and remote. And Brendan's going to go through what these SKUs are later on, but this is going to make it significantly easier. We also know that we'll have some statement of work type of services that need to be done. So a couple examples, right? You have a bundling of services, right? Or you have services that we want to slightly tweak against a specific customer needs or an embedded engineer. So we will have those, and we're also making that significantly easier. So we released the SAL calculator last quarter, but we've been doing a significant amount of effort to make it clean, to make the output much more polished so it's quicker to get this done. This is something that will be facilitated and supported by the solution architect and working with professional services. And so again, Brendan's going to walk through that in a few minutes here. Next slide, please. Let me introduce you to the team. So I don't know, depending on when you started, you may have a different perspective of the team, but we have a global team. And we have both the breadth and depth of skills and experience. So we've got cloud architects, we have software engineers, we've got GitLab administrators, we've got agile DevOps practitioners. So we believe we've got a best-in-class services team that can drive that adoption experiences. And we have, do you need certifications? AWS, Kubernetes, GCP, you see them on here, system experience. And those in the public sector, part of the business, we have services people that have the clearances that are needed to drive those services with our public sector or federal customers. Next slide, please. So a couple of key things. Really simple tenets. We've been focusing on streamlining, you get easy to order, and when you order it, and you're going to get a reliable and quality delivery. So a couple of things. When we have, we're going to talk through that a little bit about what were the improvements on the SKUs as well as the SOW. And we're also doing a lot on our delivery side to improve just the repeatability. When you sell it, we're going to get it delivered and deliver it quality. There's a lot of stuff doing to clean that whole process up in terms of customer expectations. We're clearing through all the old backlog. So when you order, we're going to be able to quickly move forward on delivering on those on your deals. Next slide, please. Awesome. And I'll hand it over to you, Brendan.
Great. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brendan O'Leary. I actually helped found the services organization 2 years and one day ago today. I started with GitLab 2 years ago yesterday. After that, I went on a little hiatus to our product group, but I'm back now, and my role is to help David and the team mature our existing offerings, as well as understand what expanded offerings we want to explore. So first, I want to talk about those changes that we've made into what I'm lovingly calling Services 2.0. For some of you, this is a big change. For others that have been here a shorter period of time, welcome to GitLab. But we've completely revamped the services catalog on the website. We actually are still working with the marketing group to make it even more impactful to our customers. In addition, as David mentioned, we've updated the services calculator to version 2.0, ensuring that we can create professional standardized statements of work. And we'll talk a little bit about how that process works later, but I encourage you to check out both of those changes. And let me just go to the next slide. Here we go. Second, we've created kind of a lexicon to use in discussing services and what we want to offer. So this is similar to the products team look at stages, categories, and features. We have levels of service, categories, and offerings. So this here shows our current product level services that David was mentioning in more detail in the categories of implementation, education, migration, and embedded engineering. Those that are highlighted in green here are now have what we call the professional services SKU. So those can be ordered without the need for a heavy and cumbersome statement of work process, can just be added to any quote and purchased like any other software license would be. And the ones we've highlighted in yellow here still require a statement of work today, but we're also going to talk about how we've updated that process in a little bit. Most of the time, we find that customers that are self-managed get started by utilizing their licenses much quicker with an implementation package. And then our GitLab CI/CD training is very popular for users that might come off of Jenkins to GitLab CI/CD for the first time. And we've also seen accelerated adoption and as David mentioned, that expansion, time to expansion much faster with an included migration plan. Examples of that would include Verizon, who was able to move 36,000 projects off of Bitbucket in just a matter of months with our services team. And so we also thought a lot about how do we position these services to our customers. And when positioning the services and their value, we tried to think about that in terms of the command of message efforts that we've all been participating in. So here are some discovery questions that are aligned with the 3 value drivers of GitLab overall. These questions help customers understand where our services offerings might help them decrease the time to value with GitLab. And in fact, the services and implementation, migration, and education, I think, align directly with these value drivers because they help them increase their operational efficiency by getting it up and running in an efficient manner, deliver better products faster by having their team trained on the new tools, and reduce the security and compliance risk by knowing that they've got GitLab implemented properly. So as we discussed, there are 2 different ways now to order professional services. The newest and easiest path is to use these off-the-shelf SKUs that are integrated directly into the quoting system in Zuora. So just as you would add any other software license or options to a quote, you can add those pre-built services to your quotes. They include the simple items such as training, but also include the quick start implementation packages for groups that want help getting GitLab up and running in their self-managed environment. And all of these services can be performed remotely or on site. In the case of traveling on site, it's noted that the travel costs are passed on to the customer via our sponsored travel policy that we have. And as we mature our ability to scope other services, we're going to be adding additional SKUs over time. However, if those SKUs aren't what the customer needs, the ones that we have today, or you want a more tailored plan for them, as David was mentioning, if we package services together, or if they require a statement of work in order to purchase professional services, you can still order services through our statement of work process, which we've also streamlined. So it's a very simple process that can be owned by the solution architects in partnership with us and the professional services team. It all starts with the new and improved services calculator. That will actually now create a baseline estimate. And in addition, it also now creates the issue that will be used to monitor the progress of the SOW through the process. So once the SAs describe that customer need on the issue, if there are any additional questions, then the professional services engineering team, or likely myself, will join a call with the customer to help flesh out the scope of that engagement. After that, our professional services team will finish writing the SOW and deliver it to David, the VP of Customer Success, for his approval. And then once it's approved, the account team, either the SA or the sales leader together, can then deliver that proposal to the customer. And then once the customer agrees and is ready to purchase, the purchase process works just like the signature process for any negotiated software terms and ends up being signed by Paul, our CFO. So like David said, we're going to keep this short so we can leave the most time for questions. I want to thank everyone for their attention and for those changes that we've made thus far. But of course, in the GitLab spirit, this is just another iteration, and there's still lots of improvements that David and I want to make to both our process and to how the orderability of services. So for now, our ask to you are to help our customers get faster time to value by aligning services offerings with the license deals that are in your pipeline today. And as you do, you can contact me directly through one of the Slack channels here so that I can gather feedback and understand how we can make future iterations even better. And then the last slide is just a couple more places to get help, some resources. The SKUs are all contained in a single source of truth in the handbook now. And so you can see what's available via that method. In addition, we're now maintaining a full catalog of our services directly on the website. That again is pulling from the same central source of truth. The calculator now pulls from that as well to kind of streamline that. Please check out the new services calculator output and offer any feedback you have on that. Also, the new design that we saw screenshotted here, and the UI is coming really soon. I'll announce that in the Slack channel when it's available. And one last plug for if you have questions. Remember, at GitLab, we're public by default. So if you have a question, probably means a lot of the other folks do too. That's why we have this public professional services channel that I mentioned here. And I did a little research and found the median response time for questions in that channel in the last month to be about 6 minutes. So we hope you see that as a valuable tool to the team, and happy to help wherever I can. So that's the presentation. David, I think we're ready probably for questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. Do we want to have, there's a couple, I'm trying to answer them in the chat. Does someone want to just chime in with a question that we haven't answered yet?
It'd actually be great just to record this like for other folks too, to verbalize the ones that even you have answered in chat. So if you don't mind, I know Joe Jumtra had a question about customer testimonials with services. Joe, do you want to verbalize that?
Yeah, sure thing. So in the spirit of command of the message, don't just take my word for it. Here are several other customers that are leveraging services and having success. Do we have any of those that we can reference or name drop during pitches of services?
Sure. Yeah, so that's a great question, Joe, and actually in line with one of the next improvements down the line. So there are a number of anecdotes obviously out there, but we want to organize those as we have so well with the command of message. We're working with the marketing group. We're actually going to be putting together a white paper with quotes directly from customers on the benefits of all of the services that we offer today. So that'll be just kind of like maybe a 2-sheet kind of thing, just a quick services white paper. We're going to get quotes from different industries and different verticals and bring them all together into kind of one white paper.
And then Ken, you had a question, if you want to verbalize that on kind of guidance for positioning or ordering, positioning services.
David, can you say again? I missed who that was for.
Oh, that was a question for you. I verbalized the question
okay.
you had. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your voice broke up on my Zoom. I was just okay. So I was just wondering if there were any updates to our process page around how SAs make sure they leverage this new information in coordinating with the PS folks. And you sent a couple links out, which were helpful.
Yeah. So Brendan has some of the command and message questions that we'd recommend. There's also more detailed questions because ultimately, like, to try to avoid kind of back and forth professional services, we started putting some questions in that we would recommend that you ask to help kind of scope that out. And so by the time it gets to, if it's a SAL, it could be much quicker because you've collected 80% of, or maybe potentially everything that we need to scope it out. So we have put those in there. We'll continue to flesh those out for, and that's again, more of that custom SAL offering. Nice. And so the other thing is, if you want to look on the professional service handbook page, we also put in a lot of the future, what kind of our vision, what services we're delivering. Brendan's been doing a lot of work and putting a lot of information there. So it's very robust. So I direct to a couple of the links that I put in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
And I would also just note, David, that there's also links in the slide deck, right? So each of the slide deck, in the spirit of handbook first, each slide has a link to the handbook page that talks in more detail about that. So encourage you to use those as well.
Excellent. Let me just pick anybody else. If you want to chime in with questions, I think Hugo, you had a question.
It was answered by Chris. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, actually, I had a question about service delivery times. A question I always see people asking is, I can order services easily enough, but how do I know the best way when they can be delivered, or when will they be delivered?
There's probably a couple things. One is, as part of the process, as soon as it gets booked, it moves in and we create an issue and work on scheduling it. If there's specific needs that you have for a customer, you can always contact Brendan around kind of helping provide the guidance, and he'll work with David Tachny on the delivery date. So if there's something special, unique, or if it's like a larger service engagement, we can work with you and plan that. But ultimately, it's not going to get hard scheduled until the booking's done.
And we wrote that down. That's also a new addition to the handbook. There's a specific process for what our stated time to delivery, and then how we can help make some, not guarantees, but help make customer comfortable about delivery time.
I wanted to clarify, we're talking about in the presentation that for the training, there would be separate SKUs for remote versus on-site. And am I to understand that's to come? Because right now I'm looking at available SKUs like for GitLab admin training. It's a single SKU. So I want to make sure I didn't miss something, because I actually quoted this morning.
Yeah, so I mentioned that pretty quickly in there. That's a great question, Bill. We went in the end with one set of SKUs that says travel costs will be, because we wanted to have one price. And it says just that travel costs will pass on to the customer. So of course, if you're doing it remote, there are no travel costs. So the SKUs are applicable today to remote or on-site. It's just if they're on-site, those travel costs will be directly passed on within our sponsored travel policy, which is also in the handbook, of course. And so that's the first iteration. We're going to see how that works, but that's our plan right now.
And probably another kind of question to Bill, if we've kind of evolved or tweaked the SKUs, which we're going to be doing, we're not going to change it mid-sales process. So if you put something in a quote, we're going to honor that, all the way through. So we're just kind of looking to tweak them to make them more accurate in terms of both the value and cost. So we're looking for feedback, and we're going to ultimately try to continue to make it easier and cleaner and more clear on what the expectations are.
Sure. Well, the reseller actually used the SKU that I provided for it, but then had to note there that just the travel and expense would be invoiced separately as after the engagement as actual expense incurred.
Typically, yeah. To that point also, typically in public sector, if we are going to bill for travel after the fact, they have to have a line item on the purchase order reserved for travel. So if it's possible to add in our quoting system a space where we could input an estimate of travel, that would be useful, because otherwise there might be no way for us to invoice.
Great feedback. We'll definitely thank you. Yeah. So
we'll dig into that with sales ops. Thanks.
Well, absolutely. Look, we appreciate the feedback. So if there's issues you see with the way we put stuff up, give us the feedback. We're here to listen. We're here to change. We're committed to making sure that this is helping ease of ordering, but really kind of make it a clean process for you and your prospects.
I do have one additional question, which I had put in the chat and was answered, about trying to find a description for the project management training. I was actually looking for this recently. I've seen the education page for the Get Basics, the CI/CD, and the admin. I went to the handbook page that you created, and the link for project management under current SKUs just takes you back to the top of this page. So for the other ones, we have it'll take you to a page where there's like an overview and just like a basic syllabus, which is really helpful as we're trying to sell these trainings to give them an idea of what would be covered.
Yep, that is coming. That's a great question. Still working on that. We just actually hired someone pretty recently. Her name's Christine. She's great. She's going to own all of our training and certification efforts. And so she's getting plugged into that. And we just want to make sure that we respect her as she's onboarding in that, but that will exist soon. So I'm glad. It means you really looked, because you found that there was.
I know. I had an RFP where and I had an RFP where I needed.
Again, if there's something that didn't fit our SKUs, we can always go with the SAL process and work that out. And I think the other piece is Brendan is your single point of contact. I think also has been clear to work with. So the SA should partner up and do the initial scoping. They'll work with Brendan to finalize that and get that done. And again, we've been really working to improve that quality of that process and making it much faster too. But we love the feedback and appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you need it for an existing order, there is a description, because we had to have one for every SKU. So I can get that to you if you need it.
We've got time for maybe one or two more questions.
Excellent. I have a question. This is Link. So on the DoD side, simple questions. You listed 3 major services. Are all of them available both on the secret and the top secret side? And then kind of related to that, do they have to be separate SKU entries for secret and top secret if they want both?
So we should talk about that a little bit more offline.
Okay.
We, as mentioned, have professional services team members that hold, and the ones that hold clearances hold TSSCI clearances, but they're not held currently. So we're working with the public sector team to get everyone's clearance that needs one covered, and Chris Maurer and I can get you kind of more details on that. So if you have a customer that requires that, just let us know and we'll work with you on that.
It's just a future thing. It's only my 4th day here, so I don't have any customers.
Yeah.
I love the question, though. Thank you, Link.
No problem. I come from that world too, so very familiar with it. And we have done work with TS and secret cleared customers before, so we can make stuff work. Just let us know.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Brendan and David, is there one other question you see on chat that you want to field here before we need to wrap up today?
I'd like to ask a quick question. How is this compensated from a commission? Is it based on closure, delivery of service, or invoicing the customer?
Brendan, want to answer? I'm pretty sure that it gets done on completion, but we can follow up. I can double check that with finance that they tie those out when it's completed.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I see it's a popular topic. Lots more questions we have time to field. I will save these questions, share these with Brendan and David. And I guess, guys, can I ask you for your help to answer these as part of the issue or as a follow-up?
That would be great.
Yeah, there's one reminder. There's the professional services. I don't know if you want to flash up the screen real quick before the recording, but there's a Slack channel that you can post questions in. Brendan's your single point of contact, but also you can use the Slack channel as well. So whatever makes sense given the situation. And real quickly, there's kind of two. We have the professional services or customer success channel where you can ask questions. So thank you again. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, David, for giving us the opportunity to connect with the team. And we're here to help your customers drive that time to value, the product adoption, ultimately help you get faster time to expansions.
Thank you, David and Brendan. Great stuff. Appreciate everybody's participation. Talk to you later.
Thanks all.